Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So the first episode, man, this show is not only gorgeous to look at, but everything is so fluid and the action is just seamless. Like, it was a really, really cool introduction into this very seemingly bizarre world, and we don't really know much about it, which I'm okay with because that means that we get to spend this season figuring out like the world building, what's going on. What we do know is that there are these curses which kind of sound like demons, but they're curses, and that you have to kind of have this curse energy in order to fight back and retaliate against them. And apparently there's a school where I'm assuming Fushigoro, Goro, I couldn't remember his name last episode, the black-haired boy, Goro, or we'll get his full name, I'm sure, but he basically was telling Yuuji, our main protagonist here, about it, and was just saying that he was from that institution, and that, Yuuji, our protagonist, I really like him already. He's kind of a goofball, but he has a really good heart. He's very lovable. His grandfather passes away in the very first episode, which is so tragic, and he doesn't really have time to mourn it because his friends at the school are being attacked by a curse, and in order to save them and to save this Goro guy, he basically eats the finger of a curse, which is gross, and it allows him to kind of be inhabited and hosted, become a host for this curse, which is very frightening. But it looks like, in a very Gollum Schmeagol kind of way, that the curse isn't going to totally take over his body, that he's going to have some control over it, which is interesting. Already Yuuji is throwing some really crazy, obvious shonen protagonist vibes, where he's extremely athletic. He, like, when he burst through that window, I was like, dude, I would be dead. But he somehow holds his own against the curse for quite some time. So I'm wondering if there's something in his backstory. His grandfather ominously tried to tell him about his parents, and he was, like, brushing it off like, no, I don't want to know. So in the back of my head, I'm automatically thinking, okay, well, maybe that's going to be important down the road. Maybe there's something about his parents that we don't know that's going to be relevant, because anytime a grandparent's like, let me tell you about your folks, and they're like, nah. I'm thinking Hunter x Hunter, when Aunt Mito's like, let me tell you about your dad, and Gon's like, oh, it's fine. Or about the mom, I guess. But anyway, so I have a feeling that's maybe going to come back into play. I don't want to be spoiled because I like going into this without knowing anything if possible, because that just makes it all the more exciting when we get to find out. But I'm just keeping that in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, the parents, we're going to file that away for now. But yeah, Goro and his crazy demon dogs. I went back and rewatched the episode, and there's a frame where he's talking to Yuuji, and Yuji's explaining like, oh yeah, I'm not afraid of death. And the one dog's just munching on this curse, like, in the foreground. It has a very Ralph Bakshi feel to it. It's just so bizarre. But I love it. It's so crazy so far. It's bizarre and chaotic, and I'm all kind of for it. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope you all liked the first episode. We're going to dive into episode 2 and see what happens with this. Poor Yuuji. Goro's like, I'm going to exercise you now. And he's like, wait, what? So we're going to see what happens. But in any case, I hope you all enjoy. We're going to start episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. That was so good. Oh my gosh. I love that. Okay. This was a great episode. I just establishing that this Jujutsu school, our Tokyo version of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the Jujutsu school is very small. I get that there's only 3 first years, so it's basically Fushigoro, Yuuji, and then this girl, who's going to be our Girl of Steel next episode. I'm excited. And then we have second and third years. I like that Gojo is basically the chaperone, sponsor, teacher of the first years. He's kind of like watching over them. I really like this setup that Yuuji, they're not letting him off the hook. They're like, yeah, we could kill you now, or we've been struggling to find these cursed objects. We've only found 6 of 20, and you have the 7th that you've eaten. So, which technically now he's eaten 2, so they have 5 still that he's not eaten yet. We need you to find the other 13. And then we'll kill you. So, interesting. I like that this is setting up like our stakes. Go find these objects, and obviously Sakuna is apparently this like godlike curse demon, blah, that they want to exorcise and get rid of. I like that we're establishing the elders are paranoid, like the elder jujutsu users, the sorcerers. I like that they're sorcerers. They're all kind of paranoid. It's interesting structure. I'm wondering if we're gonna get to see that. Gojo seems like he's kind of lying a little bit through his teeth. He's like, "Oh, I'm probably stronger than Sakuna. Probably, yeah." I love that he showed off. Like, just had to show off and be cool. And that fight scene, holy cow! Like, I will probably go back and rewatch that like a dozen times because that was so cool. But I love the fact that we're establishing that Yuji's a good vessel for this curse, that he can instantly like go in and out. I have a feeling we're gonna have a lot of inner monologues with Sakuna, which is gonna be interesting. His love of Jennifer Lawrence, and he's just a teenage boy. He is a stereotypical teenage boy, and I like that. And I like how optimistic he is, but I like that he's your stereotypical teenage guy, but he's also very, very good-hearted. Like he's like, I've never really done anything for myself, and this is the first thing that I can do, and only I can do. So that's really cool. And I like that he's gone away to the school and he's bunking next to Fushigoro, who I'm still wondering about his reasoning why he wanted Yuuji not to die. I'm curious about that. And then this girl. So, okay, it's setting up a pretty cool dynamic here. I like the plot setup. The principal looks really cool with his creepy dolls. We're gonna get to see the second and third years, hopefully. I like it. We're on a quest to find things and bring them all together. And there's going to be curses and magic and sorcery and jujitsu. So yeah, the martial arts, the fluidity of the choreography of the fights and everything, so good, like so good. That scene though, where Yuuji had to pick his grandfather's bones out of when he was cremated, that was so sad. And I'm getting that's probably more of a cultural thing of when someone's cremated that you do that. But I was like, oh. And then when the principal calls him out, like, yeah, your grandfather had this death, but your death is probably not going to be. I like that he establishes that the jujitsu sorcerers, they don't ever die without regrets, which is interesting. So I'm wondering, what's Gojo's regret? What's these other regrets? Like, what have these characters all regretted that they're filled with when they die? So, because Yuji's goal seems to be to have a death that's not with regret. So. I don't know, y'all. But that was a really good episode. That's setting everything up. I'm excited to see what happens in episode 3. I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Please feel free to comment down below. Please no spoilers. But thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, we'll tune in next time with episode 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen. See y'all soon. Bye.